Hi, this is Ian, and this is gonna be teaching English in Asia without a degree, like how to do it, whatever. So first off, you probably heard basically the main requirements are to be a native English speaker and to have a 4-year degree in any subject to teach in Asia. Those are like the basic requirements for most jobs in most situations. However, it's possible to teach without a degree, and it's possible to teach without being a native English speaker. Basically, you need the first few requirements that I mentioned for a visa, to get a visa to teach. So if number one, you don't need a visa, or you can get a visa another way, you can find a way to teach. And but teaching on a tourist visa is illegal. People do it, but it's illegal. I've done it before. But if you get caught, you might get a fine, or you might get kicked out of the country. They'll put a stamp in your passport, and sometimes that can look bad on, you go to another country and they say, oh, you get kicked out of it, that could look bad. So that's the downer if you get caught. See, in China, if you're not a native speaker, I've known Europeans that have gotten jobs teaching English in Taiwan, and through the course, a guy told me that he got offered a job. He was from Czech Republic, and he basically I read about another girl online who wrote an article about teaching in China, and she was from Poland, and both of them got offered Z visas. So a Z visa is the legal visa to teach in China, and they had degrees, but they weren't native speakers. So if you're not a native speaker, then it's pretty tough. But in China, apparently some schools, anyways, the schools that they taught in were public schools. There's not a lot, in my memory, when I was in China teaching, in my memory, there's not a lot of jobs like that. I don't remember seeing a lot of public school jobs. I just don't remember. You can check it out yourself. eChina Cities is a good place to look for jobs in China. So that's an opportunity if you're not a native speaker. Now something else, if you're not just in general teaching in Asia, if you're not white, then you're gonna have a little bit more difficulty in general, and especially if you're not white and you're not you don't have the requirements, so it's like you get a few strikes against you if you're not white or you don't have the right requirements. So it doesn't look too good if you're not that. Like those people who taught without being a native English speakers in China, being a native speaker, they were Caucasian. I knew a couple in Taiwan that I met that lived nearby me, and I can't even remember where they're from, Slovakia or something, and they were teaching. I can't remember how they got their visa to teach or whatever. So anyways, getting the visa, that reminds me, getting a visa, so if you're basically get a few options depending on where you're from. You can get a student visa, and sometimes student visas will allow you to work like part-time for a few hours or something like that, and so that could work. You study Chinese or Japanese or Korean, whatever, in a school. You might have some minimum amount hours that you have to study, maybe 12 hours or something. I'm not sure. You're gonna have to find that out. So if you get that, sometimes they give you permission to work. So you could get permission to teach English that way. What else? Working holiday visas. If you're from a Commonwealth country like Canada, or I'm from the USA, so I'm not even sure about that. But if you're from a Commonwealth country, in some places you can get a working holiday visa, like Japan's the one I'm thinking of. And that would enable you to teach English legally, I think, if you don't necessarily have a degree, or I think. So that's a way. Yeah, again, tourist visas, those are illegal. A TESOL certificate, is that going to help Is that going to help you? Does that replace a degree? No, it doesn't. Again, you need the degree for a visa. A TESOL certificate doesn't replace a degree. If you have 2 years of your degree completed, then you can get a job. You can get a job in Korea through the TALK program. And some schools in Taiwan, if you have 2 years completed and a TEFL certificate, you can get a job. I think Hess has a program that can do that. Some other schools might do that too. Okay, nobody's gonna pay, if you're interested, oh wow, I'm from India and I want to teach English in Korea or wherever you're from. Nobody's gonna pay teachers to fly over there, but that's if you have the requirements, all of them. Native speaker, a bunch of other paperwork, and a degree. You gotta have that to teach in Korea. No one's gonna pay you to fly over there, okay? If you don't have a degree or you're not a native speaker, okay? You're on your own. So in most cases you're gonna have to go over there and look if you want a job. And then there's some risk to that, especially if you don't have the right qualifications. There's some risk that you might not find a job. But in every place, in China, Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, I've known teachers and met teachers that have taught there without a degree or who weren't a native speaker. Actually, I can't say that for Korea and Japan, but for Taiwan and China, I can say that. Basically, visa, if you want to teach illegally, you could try that. Again, I told you there's a risk to get over there to get a tourist visa. In Taiwan, you get I'm telling you, just as like an American or as a U.S. citizen, you get 1 free month in Taiwan just by showing up there. If you buy a ticket and you show up there, you get 1 free month. Most people will get like try to get a multiple entry 2-month tourist visa. But every 2 months you gotta leave, which is the same in all these countries. You have to leave the country. Sometimes you can get back in, and let's see. In China, you'll have to you can extend it a few times, but then after that, China's expensive. If you're a U.S. citizen, to get a visa there is gonna cost you like, last I knew, about $140 US. It's good for a month. You can extend it maybe 2 or 3 times. And Japan, you'll get 3 months. Korea, you'll get 3 months. Those are on a tourist visa. Taiwan, just 1 month. You might have to be a little less picky, as far as finding a job, like getting a job that you want. You might have to be a little bit less picky, because people who've got the better qualifications are probably going to get the job first. And so you might have to go farther out, or take a job that someone else doesn't want. Sometimes you can find full-time jobs, sometimes a part-time job. It depends on your visa situation and whatnot. But that's the basics for teaching in Asia without a degree or without the right qualifications. Okay.